This video I'm going to do a comparison of what they call the simple noise functions in Affinity Photo's procedural texture filter. So I've written a program that has all of the, or the first set of noise functions here, and then I have another one with the second set of those. So the first one I'm starting off with is noisei, and mostly I wanted to do this to compare it with the scope over here. So here are the values in the scope. I've got 4 different random values, and this is what it looks like in the scope. So now I'm going to look at the next one is noise. And if I look at that, you can see that it's taking a straight line connecting those different values. So it's using a straight line to connect, interpolate between those values. Next one is noisesc, and that uses a S curve, it says in the documentation. So there's the S curve, and it shows that it's nice smooth connection between the different random number values. I'm going to look at S sign, and I see no difference, or pretty much no difference between those. I can't see any difference between the noisesc, the S curve, and the sign, which is what I expected. And then the next one is noisecs. Okay, so this is sort of like an S curve. It's sort of this rounded curve connecting those different values. And it looks like you can still see the stripes, but it has a sort of blur between the edges. So it sort of rounds off the edges if you look at it in the scope. And the next one is noisecubic. And here we see this is even smoother in the image, and then it has this nice smooth curve connecting those. So cubic curve, cubics can sort of curve in and curve out. Then I'm going to look at the next set, and these are all have a regular value and an inverse value, and I don't know the underlying code to these, but it seems like it has something to do with a squared value or a cubed value, since they call it SQ and CB. However, if you just square noise or cube noise, you don't get the same curve, because these dark values, these points, would be pushed down below the value they're on. They look similar, but they're not quite the same. So let's take a look at those. So there's starting with the regular noise. This has a straight line connecting them. Now I'm going to go to noisesq. You can see it has this sort of a concave up curve connecting these different points. Now if I look at noisesqi, it's concave down curve connecting those different points. So it's sort of like a square root, but the square root is not quite the same as this. All right, next one is CB, which seems sort of like it's cubed, but again, I tried cubing just noise, and it doesn't come out like this, because the gray values these values would all get shifted if you do that. So I can't quite tell what the underlying mathematical function is, but I can see this one. If I compare that one to the SQ, I can see that it's got a steeper curve, a steeper slope between those. Okay, and now the CBI, noisecbi, again, this one is concave down, but it's a steeper slope connecting the values. Now there's something called P sign. I couldn't find what that is, but it's not as, if I compare that one to SQ, it's just slightly, SQ has slightly more slope than the P sign. And then the P sign I is sort of a rounded, again, concave up versus concave down, or rounded up versus rounded down. Noisecr, if I look at that one, that looks pretty pointy. If I compare that to the cube, it even seems to be more pointed than the cube over here in the scope. And then noisecri, the opposite of that. and then I have noiserti. Okay, so this one has concave up now, and looks like that. Compared to, let's look at the SQI, you know, it's not the same. And so anyway, so that one they called RT, and they don't give any explanation of RT. I mean, to me it looks sort of like root, like square root. And it does, if you take the square root of the noise function, it does look a little bit like that, but again, it'll shift the values around when you take the square root. And then the last one is RTI, which is sort of the inverse of that. So if I look at, I'll just do that as an example. So if I just delete these and look at just the noise and turn that up, I'll turn this off. Okay, so if I just look at that and I take the to the power squared, it looks like that. So you can see it shifted it. It's also not the same as the noisesq. You want to look back at that one. And then if I take the cube of this, it shifts it even more. It does sort of resemble the difference between noisesq and noisecb. I can also take the square root of this, and that does resemble a little bit this noiserti value. So that's my comparison of the noise, and just a sort of visual scope comparison of those. I can't really tell what's going on mathematically inside of the functions, but just wanted to show what they look like on the scope here. All right, thanks for watching. Let me know if you have any comments or questions. Oh, and I'll put the formula for this in the description for the video.